think everybody's back now from lunch, and I don't think there are any other parties with questions for Mr. Sensical, so we just deal with those we have, Mr. Sensical. Just a few for you. Sorry, I'm going to be jumping around a little bit. I'm going to the proof that you've adopted from Mr. Ralph Lewis. And page 13 and section 4.5.
Yes, sir.
Now, it's not something that the inquiry's been concerned with, the minerals and waste local plan. It was something that came up in discussions with Mr. Kelly earlier on, just from the point of view of completeness. But what interests me here is that there's reference in the paragraphs in section 4.5 to parts of the scheme overlying a mineral safeguarding area. That's the reference. Now we've got the plan itself is a core document, but it seems that the mineral safeguarding areas aren't identified spatially in that document. There's reference to a separate policies map, which I can't find in the document. I think we'd just like to be clear about the extent of the safeguarding areas in relation to the scheme.
In truth, sir, I've not looked at that proposals map,
No.
but I'm sure that we can get hold of a copy.
Or just an extract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are there any follow-up questions that you want to ask? I suppose you don't know until you've seen it, do you?
No. I think the key thing is just to know to what the extent to which it overlaps with the
Yes.
with the order. Okay, thanks. The next thing I wanted to mention was the planning obligation, which relates to the Cambourne West site.
Yes.
I think that's CD 408. I think.
CD4.
Sure, I'll be told if I've got the wrong one. Yeah.
CD408.
Yes. It's quite a long document.
Yes, sir.
If you're working from the PDF, can you go to page 8, PDF page 80?
Yes, sir. I'm there.
And towards the bottom of that page, there should be a heading Broadway bus link.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether you've had the chance to see this beforehand, but if you just have a look at the paragraph 1.1.
Yes, sir.
And the land edge in red on plan 3, if you want to see it, it's on page 69, but it just shows the extent of the route of the busway between Stirling Way and Broadway on that side, on the eastern side of Cambourne.
What page was that on, sir?
It's on page 69.
PDF page 69.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Yes, sir. I have been to that part of the site, and I have seen that
That
avenue,
area.
as it were.
All I wanted to know was what's your understanding of what that provision requires to happen?
Can I go back to the
Of course, yes,
text?
yeah.
Polly, could you give me the
Yeah,
page number?
it's PDF page 80.
PDF page 80. Yes.
paragraph
Yeah.
1.1.
Yeah. The owner covenants with the county council to complete a carriageway along that route.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just reading it again.
No, that's
sir.
okay. That's fine.
And it gets transferred to the county council. Approved purpose is for, as a roadway for buses and emergency vehicles, a footpath and cycleway. There's a financial contribution to be paid. There'll be a traffic order made prohibiting use of the carriageway by any vehicles except buses and emergency vehicles. Well, clearly the works have not been carried out.
Yes, but does that cover part of the existing scheme?
Yes, sir, it does.
And is there an existing requirement for it to be provided? Whatever happens with this scheme?
There is an existing requirement under these provisions, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I want to go back to Mr. Lewis's proof.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to paragraph 5.8.16.
I have that.
And there's reference there to the Madingley Road verges local wildlife site, which I don't think is something we've heard anything about during evidence at the inquiry. But it then goes on to say that that and the adjacent triple SI, which I presume is Madingley Wood, they've been safeguarded through corridor adjustments, referring to presumably to the scheme. Well, given where the scheme runs, which is away from Madingley Road itself, because it's the offline section, can you clarify what's actually meant? And can you tell me anything about the local wildlife site in terms of exactly where it runs?
If I'm being perfectly honest, no, but I'm very happy to investigate further and, well, either deal with it now or come back to you.
That's in terms of the LWS.
Yeah.
What about the adjustments that have been made in respect of the triple SI?
I would have to be directed to a plan, I think. Which again, I'm happy to do either now or
Well,
to come back.
if you're not sure, it may be best to come back, Mr.
Well,
Sensible.
being perfectly frank and honest about it, yes.
Yes.
I'd
On
like
the
to.
other hand, you may get asked by Mr. Cameron in a way that will assist. We'll see what happens.
That is a potential solution, sir, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Potential.
Potential. Sometimes it's a potential hazard. Mr. Underwood?
Thank you. Mr. Sensible, Mr. Clegg just asked you about the planning obligation associated with West Cambourne relating to the route. Just as a follow-up to that, I mean, you agreed that planning obligation required a busway, for want of a better purpose, is to be provided in that.
Along that,
Yeah.
that defined
Does-
route, yes.
Does that have any consent or permission? Could that happen now, or is the order the only proposal that would give it permission?
That's a very good question, sir.
In the order, it's identified as orange land, which is the sort of land where the order would apply, but there would be no requirements for any land interest changes.
I'd have to go back, I think, to the original application and see what was included
Okay, so
in that.
yeah.
I'm not being very helpful here, I do apologise.
Potentially, we may be able to help.
Potentially, so that may be covered in re-examination.
I guess I just want to know, is there a standalone permission?
Permission, yeah.
And I must admit, I don't even know what permissions are required for that piece of infrastructure. Does it form part of the previous planning permission?
Your
the
hence me
area?
out, yeah.
Is the order the only way that? Is the order the only thing at the moment which is proposing to give that some permission? So
I absolutely take your point.
That's fine.
To be helpful, as far as we're concerned, there is planning permission in place for the development subject to the obligation. I appreciate you maybe don't want evidence from me, but an answer
No,
to the question now.
It's
in
just that the papers I've seen about the planning permission obviously all relate to Cambourne West rather than things in the east. So
Sir, if it, in the spirit of cooperation that Mr. Parker has begun, if you go to core document 402, you will find a outline planning permission for a bus link between Stirling Way, Upper Cambourne and the Broadway. And the way that one gets there is if you look at the deem planning drawings, there is actually a notation on it taking you to that reference.
right, sorry, I'd assumed that reference was to West Cambourne rather than this. So that,
It's
thank
an
you.
outline
Yeah.
planning permission. Yeah, and as Mr. Henderson's pointed out to me, there is also a reserved matters application reference because that is an outline. But if you look at sheet 1 of 17, it's got those references on, and in a similar spirit, it's not only planning permission that you want, because if the order applies to it, even if it's not seeking compulsory acquisition powers, it's still the order for a guided busway on that route. So it's not the end of the matter just to look at planning permission.
So was that on the
So these are on the
planning plans rather than
yes, the planning plans.
Yeah, the deemed planning drawings,
It's,
sheet 2.
All right. Yeah, sheet 1,
Sheet 1.
CD 11604. Yeah.
No, thank you. That I can see that now. I've got the permission. I can see the references on the plan. I was looking at the works one. So thank you for clarifying.
We're still seeking an order over that parcel.
Sir, apologies for not being able to point you to that myself.
Oh, it's okay. I've got the answer to my question, so that's fine. One of the things Mr. Cameron took you to was to the framework policy 193C, which is a framework policy about veteran trees.
Yes.
And the policy sets out that development resulting in the loss or deterioration of irreplaceable habitats, such as veteran trees, should be refused, and unless there are wholly exceptional reasons, to which I think you answered. But it then goes on to say, and a suitable compensation strategy exists. What's your understanding of what the suitable compensation strategy would be? If I understand that your case is that it wouldn't result in the loss of veteran trees, but I think Mr. Cameron took you to to a scenario that if there was the loss of veteran trees, there would need to be wholly exceptional reasons, but the policy also requires a suitable compensation strategy.
Well, sorry, so are you assuming that the translocation
So I'm assuming that for Mr. Cameron gave you sort of two hypothetical scenarios. One, I think, was possibly translocation either didn't work or that the inspectors weren't convinced it was going to work. And then also, I think he also mentioned that there might have been a wider thing where perhaps there'd be up to 6 veteran trees might be effective. So I think these were not that I know your case is that you don't think there'll be loss, but it was this hypothetical scenario that if there was loss, but it's just that there's 2 limbs to the policy. I think you mentioned that what you thought the wholly exceptional reasons would be.
Yes.
But in terms of a suitable compensation strategy, are you aware of what that would be?
So I'll let Mr. Sensical go, but there is a reference in the documents if it's helpful, but I don't know whether Mr. Sensical...
I understood, yes, that there was a mitigation strategy. I would need some direction to the document just to remind myself which one it is.
I'll either do it now or in re-examination.
Perhaps in re-examination you can take Mr. Sensical there. Thank you. Just moving on to the open space. I think when you were asked about the local plan policy for open space, we were looking at Cambridge City Policy 67.
Yes.
And I think you mentioned that in terms of the part of that policy it accorded, but also I think the policy says that it needs to be within 400 metres, and I think you indicated that actually your proposal is further than 400 metres from the current site. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding, sir, because you've got the existing provision on the east side of the M11, and then the replacement provision is on the west side, and I think part of that site is beyond 400 metres in all truth.
So, in that sense, would it accord with policy 67?
Well,
I'm not talking about section 19. I'm talking about local plan policy accordance.
Well, it clearly it does not strictly accord with that 400 metre provision, but in all other respects, it does comply. So there is a glitch, if you like, with regard to that 400 metre provision, which is why I mentioned it in.
Well, it's not a glitch, is it? It doesn't comply with the policy.
Well, sorry, yeah, I mean a glitch in terms of compliance, yes, or non-compliance. There is not full compliance with that element of the policy.
And just on just on open space, Mr. Lewis's proof and rebuttal, which you've adopted, talks about the CPPF and Coton Parish Council's suggestion that they actually had some land that they considered would be more appropriate, and that was in Mr. Littlewood's proof. And I don't know whether you want to just have a look at Mr. Littlewood's proof. Let me just, if I can find which is, so it's CD 26 10 W1 1, and then it's on page 20. Well, on page 27 is the is a map showing the sort of approximate area, I think, and then after that there's an explanation of why the CPPF think that could be a better option for replacement open space.
Sorry, sir, could you just give me the CD reference again?
Certainly, yeah. It was so it's CD 26.
In the wrong place completely.
And it will be the second bar on the front piece because it's the interested parties proofs. 10 W1 1.
Mr. Littlewood's proof of evidence.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you look at PDF page 27, paper page 26, there's a
Yes.
map. Then underneath paragraph 8.6 sort of sets out why I think the CPPF consider that might be more appropriate. Mr. Lewis deals with in his rebuttal at 5.5.12. Where he says the CPPF land may offer theoretical advantages, and then caveats that in terms of the fact it hadn't been tested by the same criteria, and in terms of when it was whether there was any discussion about it. What I want to understand is actually what your views. I mean, I take it you've adopted Mr. Lewis's views, but what your views are about that alternative in terms of both policy compliance and the actual criteria for replacement open space under Section 19. So sorry, in Mr. Lewis's rebuttal.
Rebuttal proof, isn't it?
Yes, it's rebuttal proof, and it's paragraph 5.5.12.
5.5.12,
yeah.
12. Can I just read it again, sir?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what Mr. Lewis appears to be saying is that it was not made available, so we didn't think it was available during the initial site identification process, and hence hasn't been fully tested. And I'm not aware that our side has done any further testing on that land at present. And he goes on to say that insofar as the land that we're putting forward is concerned, we say that as far as the statutory test is concerned, rather than the policy test, it's equally advantageous. I don't think we've done any further work, sir, since this rebuttal. So I think the position is as set out at 5.5.12 insofar as the applicants are concerned. And
again, I'm conscious that your proposal proposes the replacement open space where it does, but bear in mind the Cambridge City local plan policy, and I haven't measured this, so I don't know whether it is within 400 metres of the other side. I mean, if that did comply with the policy, what are your views about that site in comparison to the site that you're putting forward?
Well, from on the basis of the information I have, which is not full information, if you like, about that site, because that's kind of where we are. As Mr. Lewis says, it may offer theoretical advantages, but I'd have to do further work, I think, sir, to ascertain whether or not they were sufficient to, if you like, elevate it above the land that we've put forward.
And
I mean, but in a, if CPPF were saying that it is available, well, it is potentially land that could be considered as an alternative to the land that we put forward. But we say that the land we put forward, certainly from a statutory perspective, meets the test.
And just moving now to the land that you're putting forward, which I think is on. I'm looking at the planning drawings, and it's sheet 14.
Sheet 14, yeah. Yes, yes.
I just want to ask you what your views were about the actual sort of quality of experience of that public open space. Sorry, of that replacement open space, based on what's shown on the drawing, including the proposed access.
Well, I think having been to the open space on the east side of the M11, the existing open space that would be lost, I would say that this land is of better quality.
Sorry, when you say better quality, what do you mean?
Well, in terms of its usability, the opportunity for quiet enjoyment of the land in question, accessibility, and it is not a little bit further away from the M11.
In terms of accessibility, I mean, the current open space has a footpath running next to it or through it, whereas this one appears to have a footpath that ends in a dead end. Do you know of anything sort of beyond the site that might alter that?
Sitting here now, no, I don't, sir.
So in terms of accessibility, I mean, do you still think it sort of offers sort of advantages over the accessibility of the existing area of open space?
Well, having visited the existing open space, which you go past buildings and round corners to get to it, as it were. Yes, there is a north-south route as well. I think they're pretty comparable, frankly.
Mr. Sensible, given the route of the footpath that's shown that Mr. Underwood has referred to, is there any reason for anybody to use it?
So which footpath, sir?
The one in the open space, in the proposed open space.
In the proposed open space?
Yes.
If there isn't a link from it, only insofar as it gives access to and around the site.
Thank you. And just a final point of clarification. Just turning to your note.
Yes.
Page 15, and this is where you're setting out the weight you're giving to various elements. I just want to be clear on the air quality improvements, which is the central part on page 15. Mm-hmm. The last sentence talks about benefits being magnified by scheme's commitment to electric buses. Can I just be clear on the basis that you've given substantial weight to air quality improvements? How does that comment at the end about electric buses factor into that?
Well, ultimately, it's a positive that further emphasises my conclusion that the weight should be substantial.
Well, are you saying that it carries substantial weight irrespective of whether there's electric buses, or are you saying it carries substantial weight because there's going to be electric buses?
Looking at the matter as a whole and the wider benefits of this scheme, I'm saying it's substantial.
Well, irrespective of electric buses?
Yes.
So just so I'm clear, so you're saying that if, for whatever reason, the fleet didn't transition to electric buses, that your view is still that air quality improvements would be substantial?
Yes.
So, sorry, the weight.
The weight. Yes, not the.
Okay. So, why do you mention the magnification?
Well, it's mentioned in Mr. Lewis's proof, and it's part of.
Sorry, I'm forgetting that you have taken these from Mr. Lewis's proof.
it's part of the, use the hackneyed phrase, the journey on which we're going. That there are benefits in the scheme, even with or even without electric buses, in that we are hopefully reducing the amount of traffic on the roads. But there are further benefits as and when we transition to electric buses.
And just in terms of those further benefits of transition to electric buses, just bearing in mind of other evidence we've heard, is that actually a benefit of the scheme, or is that actually a wider benefit as fleets in all locations transition to electric buses?
I suppose it's both, sir, isn't it? There'll be a benefit if the scheme adopts it, but it's a wider benefit as and when electric buses are adopted more widely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
those
sir.
were the questions.
Mr. Cambourne, re-examination.
Yes, please, sir. Thank you very much. I'm going to just ask you some questions on the inspector's questions, not on the questions asked to you by Mr. Parker. So can we first of all go to the para 193 MPPF point,
Yes.
which you were asked about, and you were asked, let's just remind us of ourselves of what that says. So it's core document, if anybody needs it, 8.1. So, and it's 193C, development resulting in the loss of or deterioration of irreplaceable habitats such as veteran trees should be refused unless there are wholly exceptional reasons, footnote 70 we looked at,
Yes.
and a suitable compensation strategy exists. And you were asked about the second part of that, the suitable compensation strategy. And can I ask you to take up core document 1-11-14-03.
1-11-1403.
Yes.
Right, sorry.
And once you've you've got it, it should be called draft veteran tree mitigation, and importantly for these questions, including compensation strategy. And if you go, without going through the whole of that, to page 8, you'll see the mitigation hierarchy.
Yes.
And you'll see there's a heading compensate, and this is of course on the basis that the applicant's primary case is rejected. And you'll see compensate and potential measure MPPF in the second column, and the last column potential measures 2024 regulations.
Yes.
And similar strategy. So I'd like to look at bullets 1 and 3, assuming that bullet 2 may not be possible if there isn't agreement with the coat and orchard owner. Just assume for the moment that there may not be. What is the compensation strategy?
Under MPPF measures, plant new trees and manage growth and development to veteran status within draft order limits or potentially elsewhere through agreement.
Yeah, I think they're the same for the
They are.
24.
Yeah,
and
they
then
are actually, yes.
if we have the third bullet point,
Clear scrub to improve health of other potential veteran trees in support and in agreement with the landowner.
yeah. So the two and 3 are subject to agreement with the landowner, but does 1 depend on the landowner?
No, it does not.
Thank you. And if we look at the extent, should have taken this to you first, if you go to page 5, 1.1.7,
Under structure?
yes,
Yes.
the strategy set out in this document provides an approach to providing a suitable compensation strategy in accordance with the MPPF for the impact, and it only there had 1 tree. But
Yeah.
then we go on, as the BNG regime for the scheme, which is not mandatory, is to be taken into account on a voluntary basis, and an additional approach is set out in this report to show how suitable compensation can be provided for the loss or deterioration of irreplaceable habitats. And there we have T5, T6, T7, T8 and T10.
Yes.
Right.
So that's the 6 trees that were referenced, three of which we know are affected, and the other 3 that are on the
Yeah,
edge
I
of
think
the
that's probably
border.
5, but yeah, plus the 1 above.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sorry, I meant
yes,
the
yes,
1 and then
together,
the 5. Yeah, together.
absolutely. And so, having seen that and understood what the compensation strategy is, can we go back to the initial question? If we get to wholly exceptional reasons, and if we, your view as to whether there is a, and I'll just use the correct words, a suitable compensation strategy, does it exist?
On the basis of what you've taken me to, yes, it does.
Thank you. So that is that point where I'm going to leave aside the policies map for the mineral safeguarding area. Note to, hopefully somebody's taking a note of this. Then we have the point about the Verge wildlife site. We'll take that away and look at it, sir, see whether we can provide you with an answer on that. Now,
Mr. Cameron, it was
Yeah.
2 points in effect. There was the local wildlife sites, where exactly it was, and what its importance was, but was the point that adjustments had been made to the corridor,
yes,
which I found a bit surprising given where the proposed route is. And that reference also relates to the triple SI.
we can guess at the answer, but I'd rather not guess, and I'm going to go and find out.
Yes.
Can we now go to the open space points, please? Just before we do that, can you just give me a second? So can we take up core document 119, please?
Yes,
And
I've got that.
if you go in that document to page 38 PDF, there should be a long list of potential open space sites. This is the inspectors asked you about Mr. Littlewood's point, or what about the CPPF land?
Table
Remember that?
5.1, yes?
Long list of
Yeah.
potential open space sites.
Yes.
And if you look on that list, we have got I want to look at potential sites F and G, and you can see, can you find on page 38 F and G?
I can, yes.
And this is directly to the east of the M11 and approximately 350 metres southwest of the West Cambridge Data Centre, not allocated. An area of the site is noted to fall within the Coton Countryside Reserve, which is and if we go on to G, south of the Bridleway on the east side of the M11, so this is both east side of the M11, located within the Coton Countryside Reserve, which is owned and maintained by Cambridge past, present and future. The site is accessible via public footpaths and bridleways, currently a mixture of wooded and arable land, also located within the designated Cambridge Green Belt, with an element being within the M13 proposal site. So that is the area of land within the Coton Countryside Reserve, owned by Cambridge past, present and future.
Yes.
East of the M11. And so the first question is, was that land considered in the open space study?
Yes, according to this, yes.
And if we then go down to page 39 PDF 5510,
Yes.
and we'll start with G. Potential open space sites E and G have not been taken forward, as all or portion of the sites are already considered to meet the criteria as local plan open space. And then F, we can see at 5511, currently arable, considered unsuitable for either environmental or recreational uses, and would result in impacts on existing freehold tenant farms, with the potential for the loss of best and most versatile agricultural land. So, question for you is, you've already said the site was considered. Was it, and what it was considered, was it accepted or rejected?
Rejected.
And the reasons?
As set out. What part of it's already open space, so new open space would not be created. And then there was the reference in to the other part with regard to it being best and most versatile agricultural land.
Right, thank you. And we say best and most versatile, is that the only reference? There's a reference there to other factors as well.
Unsuitable for either environmental or recreational uses and would result in impacts on existing freehold and tenant farms. And it's currently arable land.
Thank you. You were then asked about air quality and the weight you gave to that benefit. Can we take up core document 11102, please, which is technical report number 2, air quality.
Yes.
And go to page 31, please, in the PDF, which is page 27 in the internal numbering.
Yep, summary of likely significant effects.
Yes, and we go to 6.1.4. The C2C scheme will encourage modal shift and improve air quality. This has been demonstrated by the assessment. The model results show that 3 times as many receptors would experience an improvement in concentrations of NO2, PM10, so nitrogen dioxide, particulates, 10 and 2.5 respectively, when compared to the assessment without the C2C scheme. So when you referred to benefits of taking traffic off the road, were you referring to this assessment or to something else?
I was in truth, if I'm,
Yeah.
I hadn't recalled this particular assessment, but I recalled the other evidence that I've seen with regard to the level of benefits, and that is what led me to where I got to in terms of it being a substantial benefit.
Yes, and this scheme of encouraging, if it encourages modal shift and therefore improves air quality, has that got anything to do with whether the buses are electric or some other
No,
mode?
and that's, in a clumsy way, the point I was making.
Thank you very much. Can I just going to check one other point. So can we go to you were asked about the 400 metre point, and the inspector, you said, well, it's a glitch or something along those lines. Can we go back, please, to the Cambridge City Local Plan CD 601?
Yes.
And I'd like you to go in that document to page 205 in the PDF. And at the same time, I'd like you to take up the planning or deemed planning application drawings so that we can find this, and we need sheet 14. Got sheet 14 there?
I've got sheet 14, yes.
Excellent. Now, we're going to go to the local plan. We've got it in front of us, but let's look at the drawing. Now, we can see the replacement open space shown there.
Yes.
And on the southern side of the busway is the emergency maintenance and access track and active travel route.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, if this replacement open space is provided, how do you get to it?
Well, one can get to it either on foot or on cycle.
Yes. And from where?
From the footway, cycleway / maintenance track alongside the busway.
So if you've got a active travel route alongside, and it's alongside the busway, will the open space be accessible to the public?
Yes.
And how does that compare with the existing open space where you've got a footpath along some the woods on the side of the M11?
In some ways, it's well, not in some ways. I think it's a safer access. I mean, having walked down the existing footpaths that serve the existing open space to the east, it's not somewhere you'd want to walk on your own, I don't think. Whereas I think what is proposed to the west is there's more natural surveillance. It's more open. So to that extent, more attractive than I think the land to the east.
And let's go back now to the local plan 748 on page 205. Do you have it there?
I have it.
And that says replacement sites facilities should be no more than a short walk 400 metres from the site that is to be replaced, unless it can be proved that a more accessible area of open space can be provided. and replacement site facilities should not increase any identified deficiencies, and so on. So if one asks the question, there's an unless there, unless it can be proved that a more accessible area of open space can be provided. Does the proposal come within that exception or not?
I've just said that it does, yes.
Thank you. Those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sensical.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that completes evidence for today, and indeed for the inquiry. Before I move on to arrangements for next week, can I just check whether anybody has any points they wish to make, any procedural matters? Mr. Cameron?
No procedural matters to raise. Sir, you've got the conditions.
Yes.
If there are any changes proposed to the draft order, we'd hope to have them by first thing on Monday morning so that everybody has
Yes.
a chance to have a look at them.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing else that springs to mind, sir, unless somebody metaphorically kicks me to tell me that there is something else. No, Mr. Baker's smiling. That's a good sign.
Anything from anybody else? Okay. You're going to look at the areas for the mineral safeguarding.
Yes.
And there was also the query the other day about the citations and extent of the other county wildlife sites. And of course, you've got the note from today about the verges on Madingley Road.
Yes. The county wildlife site citations,
Yes.
we're on the trail. There's a most extraordinary position where you can't just get those citations online. You have to go to the organisation that runs them, and we've requested them. But if, for example, CPPF have got access to them and able to provide it, that would be fine.
We don't think it exists.
All right.
For which site we took?
We'll do it. We won't get into a discussion about this. I thought we might have something helpful, but that was too much to ask. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Right. Next week then, arrangements. We start on Thursday. Reminder that it's a 9:30 start next Thursday, the 20th. And we start with 2 round table sessions. There's the conditions, which Mr. Cameron's already referred to, and also revisiting the draft order. And I think in that second round table, perhaps we'll probably just want to go back to work number 1, which we referred to this afternoon, and I think we want to be clear in our own minds about the relationship between that and what's provided for by the existing planning obligation.
Well, we've referred to the planning permission.
You have?
We've referred to the need for an order to authorise a guided busway.
But I think it's probably more helpful if we can deal with that in a discussion setting.
Yes, sir, but if there's something particular that you're looking for, then we can get it ready for that session, is really what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything particular that we're looking for. You've referred to the permission. I think we just want to be clear about, on that particular length, exactly what consents are still required.
So what you really want to know is why do you want the order on that
Exactly,
part of it?
yes.
Got
Yeah,
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after the two round tables, it's closing statements, which I've already referred to earlier today. The only other thing to mention in terms of next week is that for those attending the accompanied site visits, which we intend to be doing on Tuesday morning, representatives of the parties should meet at 8 o'clock at the entrance to the hotel here. And I think that covers it for this week. Yes, Mrs. Postgate.
Might I ask, have you a time, an approximate time for when closings will begin? I know many people are interested
Yes.
in watching and coming.
I
They need to know when.
It's very difficult because, as you'll have appreciated, Mrs. Postgate, attending the inquiry, we don't cut people off and we don't say you've got an hour to make your case, and after that the guillotine goes down. We try to accommodate. Mr. Underwood and I have talked about this. We think that the two round tables could well take most of the morning session. But what I don't want to do is say to you that we're going to delay the first closing statement until after the lunch adjournment, because once the round tables are out of the way, we would move on. We're starting at 9:30. I would be surprised if we get to the first one for the mayor before 12 o'clock, as things stand.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but that's only a very rough indication, and other parties may have views.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, the inquiry is now adjourned, and it will resume here at 9:30 on the 20th of November. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.